Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 with Hangar Control. Hangar Control is receiving some massive updates this week, and actually as the time of this video it will be out. So I wanted to give you guys some updates of what's going on. In this particular video we're going to be talking about the Stream Deck and the Stream Deck plugin and all the things that have changed and what is still yet to come. So stick around. One app designed to do it all. Hangar Control brings everything together: control bindings, hardware configuration, mod and profile management, application launching, add-ons, config files, and more, all managed from a single application. Mods Hangar goes beyond just mods and add-ons. It manages profiles, config files, text files, backups, snapshots, and helps keep your community folders clean and organized. Application Hangar launches your entire Sim stack with a single click. Your Stream Decks are fully controlled through the Hangar Control plugin, while all of your other Stream Deck plugins remain active and available. Built by a simmer for simmers, Hangar Control adds new features and hardware support every week based on community feedback. It's a one-time purchase with lifetime updates, no subscriptions. You can try it for free for 5 days with no restrictions at overkillsimulations.com. Just create an account, head to your account page, download the latest version, and get started. And if you're looking for in-depth Microsoft Flight Simulator aircraft tutorials, check out my Patreon site. Links to Hangar Control and Patreon are down in the description below. Alright folks, so hopefully you guys watched the intro, but if not, just a real quick recap. If you guys are interested in trying Hangar Control out, go to overkillsimulations.com, create an account. Once you have logged in, click the account button up in the top right of the screen, download the latest version of the software, and you have a free 5-day unrestricted trial of the software, including any updates that may come out during that time frame. So with that in mind, let's go ahead and get started on today's video. Today we are talking about the Stream Deck plugin once again. We're going to be talking about the new functionality. I'm going to walk you guys through how to set up your Stream Deck. We're going to be using the Stream Deck Plus in our example today, but these features will work with any Stream Deck option. As we are now using the plugin, that means as long as the Elgato software can see it, you can use it with Hangar Control. The caveat: Hangar Control must be active. It must be on in order to use it, as the icons that are used for Hangar Control, if you want to use the library at least that comes with it, are pulled from Hangar Control itself. There's a reason for this. We'll talk about that at the end of the video when we talk about what's coming. Now, in order to send commands to the simulator, you must have the service started. Okay, so those are the two caveats that are required in order to use this at the time of this video. Now let's go ahead and talk about how to install the plugin, and then we'll get into configuring it for the simulator. We're going to go to settings. We're going to scroll on down and we're going to find our directories, and right beneath that you should see the Stream Deck plugin. You can see that currently it's not installed. We're simply going to click install plugin, hit OK. Should launch the Elgato software. You can see these are up because we have buttons that are bound. We're going to hit install, and there they are. Now we're going to walk you guys through how to set up all of this. Don't worry about the icon here. It's just a graphical bug. Obviously there is no screen on your encoders, but this is the one that we care about. As long as that's there, that's what we want. Now I'm going to go through and I'm going to clear all of these, and we're going to show you guys how to set them up one at a time. Alright, so there we go. I think we have one there as well. So let's go ahead and get right into it. Now the first thing, like I said, you want to have your control bindings. You want to make sure you have a Microsoft Flight Simulator profile, as that's what tells the Hangar Control what service to use, whether it's Microsoft or X-Plane. So we're going to hit start service. This way we can test all of our commands and make sure all those are working well as well. So now we're going to go ahead and just minimize Hangar Control. It can go away for now. And we're going to start out with the basics. We're going to go with a keyboard event. Okay, for your keyboards event, you guys can simply hit the record button, type what you want, and it will automatically put in there. State change on your button, you can put in toggle on press for something like this. And for example, if we wanted to pick an icon, we could go to, I don't know, autopilot heading, sure. And then when we push the button, you guys can see it is toggling down because of what we've done here. So hang on a second. I just realized what's happening. I got to click off of that screen. There we go. Let's do that. Nope, we're still in there. I got to get out of there. Hang on. Let's come up here. There we go. Oh, and actually it looks like I just found a bug with that. I'm going to have to work on that. That's not good. All right, well, so looks like toggle on press is broken at the moment. I wonder what the hell I did. So let's get into the more fun stuff. Either way, the command does work. So for example, if I click in here, you can see there's our capital G that we had put in, right? Okay. Now, it is very interesting that it's not working. I'll have to look at that. I will probably have this resolved by the time you guys see this video because it's just the way that I work. Now with your icons, we're going to worry about all of this later on because I want to show you guys the more important part. The big thing about the keyboard commands is it's important to understand that how that works is any targeted window. As you guys saw, I was able to put the G in here. So if you have the sim targeted, the keyboard command will go to the simulator. If you have a website or a text pad or whatever targeted, that's where your keystroke is going to go. But keystrokes, in my opinion, keyboard commands are boring, but they're useful for things like, for example, DCS World at the moment. So we're going to get rid of that. Now we're going to get to the good stuff. So we're going to go to the SimConnect event. Now, stay with me because there's going to be a lot to talk about here. There's a lot of different configuration options. So here we go. First thing, I created a whole bunch of presets, hopefully to make things easier. They are segmented into different categories. Let's start with electrical. And let's do our master battery toggle. And let's hit apply preset. Now you can see it's automatically set to on. It is pulling the sim variable, but there's a couple things with the master battery in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024, at least for the Cessna 172, you need to be aware of. For monitoring the physical battery state of this one, if I flip this to the off position, you can see it still shows as on, and that's because it uses a different variable for that specific switch. It's actually a B event that it monitors, but most of the aircraft, when you hit toggle master battery, the switch will toggle accordingly, whether you flip it in the switch or in the sim or flip it on the Stream Deck. Now if I push the button on the Stream Deck, you can see it stayed in the off position, but it caught up. It recognized where the position's at. If I push it again, you can see it flips on and it pulls the variable. It works every single time that you do it from the Stream Deck. I don't know what it is about that particular variable. Like I said, it's the only one that does this. But that is an option here. Now coming down to your icon size, you can see it's a little small here. So we can go icon width, icon height, make it take up that whole battery space. You can also move it left and right if you wish. If for any reason there's a spacing issue, up and down as well. Okay, set it to your desire. Now, your text here for on and off, you can do test and test 2, right? Now, it's hard to see, I know, on the screen, but if you guys can see it right there and right here, you can see the test. Now, if I flip it to the off position, you can see now it has switched to our test 2. So this is very useful if you're making your own icons. You've maybe got your own icons that you want to use. This gives you the option to change your labeling. There's generic icons with inside of Hangar Control that you can use as well that don't have any kind of labeling on them. And so that's the purpose of those. All right, so let's get rid of those. Let's put that battery back on. And let's keep scrolling down here. For your font color, yeah, we just typed up. Okay, that's going to be for the labels. You can select a font from the wheel color here. Okay, you can also set the position of that particular text. Now, the slots we're going to work on here in just a minute, so stay with me on that. We're going to come back to those. Okay, now the state change, I think that whole thing is broken. Oh no, it's using that because of the SimVar monitoring is what it's already set to use. Okay, and so that's why we're there. Now, I am kind of curious. Let's try this on this. If we do toggle press. Huh, that actually seems to be working on that. Interesting. I'm not quite sure why that was working. Anyway, so let's go back to SimVar monitoring and just leave it there for now. I wonder if there was an issue with the keyboard. It's probably specific to the keyboard. I'll have to work on that. So anyway, now let's go back over to another SimConnect event and let's start working on some of our own stuff that we can do. So the next one that we're going to do is let's do another preset and we're just going to do the COM 1. I'm going to hit apply. Now you can see that the comms are on top of each other and this is where we come all the way down to here. So your slots, if you click on that, it removes it. Click it again, it brings it back. Yes, I know the orange UI is not changing. I need to work on that. It's a minor bug, but I'm not going to hold up the release for that. Okay, now you can also do the same thing like we did before. Set your Y offset. We can set our font size. You can change your font color. Okay, and then we can do the same thing with the standby frequency. Maybe we want that down here. Bring your font size there. Set that maybe to a different color, and boom. Okay, so you can set that up however you'd like. And again, you can also turn them off and on. All right, so a couple of cool features there. You can have 3 per screen. I figured anything past that, you're probably overwhelming the display. Like, not overwhelming, but, you know, clogging it up, fogging it up. I figured 3 was probably good enough. Okay, and then again, you can always put your own label in there as well. And from the label standpoint, again... Oh, nope, that's the wrong one. Sorry, we didn't want to use a label. That's that label. From there, if you want to do that, all those options are still here. These are the standard Elgato. That's not the one I wanted to use. The one that I like to use are these. But for that, we also need a icon if we wanted, but we're not going to worry about that. You guys sort of caught the hint on that. So now let's go to the next piece of this that I want to show you guys that's really important, is the encoder section. So for this radio frequency, we're going to come down to our encoder, and you can, this would work for the display. Real quick, on the LCD display, you can see that it says encoder control. This is, again, another graphical bug that I need to find. It shouldn't be doing this, and I'm not sure what I did wrong on this one. To get rid of it, just come into the title and put a space in there. That's just your workaround for right now. Like I said, it's minor. I'm not going to hold up a release for something like that. Okay, so now we're going to go to our rotation action on the encoder. You can do adjust SimVar. I recommend the execute actions. There were very few reasons why I could think of to use this, but they are there, so I added it. We're going to go to browse in this case. Now this part gets a little interesting. So we're going to go to COM radio, and we're going to go to fractal increase and select. On the counterclockwise, COM radio, and the fractal decrease. Okay, and so now you can see in the red the fractal is increasing and decreasing. Now on the press action, we're going to do the radio swap. Now this is very important. You saw the other ones we only did COM radio. For the swap, you need COM 1. And then radio swap. So the 2 frequencies, for the fractal and the whole increase, you just need COM. For the swap, you need COM 1. Okay, so we're going to select that. Now, we're going to give it a quick tap on the encoder. So tap, there's the switch, tap, there's the switch again, and we can change the fractal. But what about the whole frequency? I don't want to use a whole nother encoder for that. So yours truly kind of thought about that. Notice that we have press action, but if we scroll down, you have touch action. This is optional. That's for the LCD. Okay, what we're actually looking for is this guy right here, the double tap mode. Double tap mode, we're going to turn that on, and honestly, I'm sorry. I meant to put this up here. Again, another graphical issue, but I'm not going to hold it up, and I don't feel like messing with the HTML anymore tonight. HTML is a pain in the butt. I hate it. But anyway, we're going to come in here again and do just like we did before. So for the clockwise action, go COM, radio. Now we're going to look for our whole increase. Find the second one. COM radio, whole decrease. Okay, now this is where this gets fun. Double tap is on. So as we turn our encoders, you can see that the fractal is going. But now if I give it a double tap, so you guys can't see it, so I'm going to say it as I do it. Tap, tap. Now you can see the whole numbers are changing. Now, these are basically 2 different profiles, so I need to do a tap tap again to go back to where we can swap the frequency. So tap tap, now we're in this menu, and give it 1 push, and we get our frequency change. Okay, so that's how you use the double tap option. It basically allows you to create 2 different profiles for a single encoder. And then the last piece that we're going to play around with here is on the LCD. So let's come over here to the LCD over on this one. And we're going to drop another encoder control here. And again, because it says encoder control, just put your space in there to get rid of it. And let's do a heading variable. So execute actions, we're going to set up our encoder right now. So we're going to go browse. Oops. Go to heading. And we want this to be heading bug increase. And then we want on this one, heading bug decrease. On the press action, we're going to do toggle the heading mode. Autopilot heading hold. Okay. On the touch screen, just to show you guys how this works, we're going to do heading set. Wait a minute. Did I click the right one? Oh yeah, touch action. My bad. Yep, that's what I wanted. We're going to do heading bug set. Select the variable, and let's put it at, I don't know, 180 just for now, just for giggles and grins. State toggle, we're going to do SimVar monitoring. LCD display, we're going to find our heading bug, whichever one we want to use. Heading blue, which one's that one? No, I don't want to use that one. Let's find a different one. Let's go for one of the LCDs. Heading, if I can learn my alphabet, let's do heading green. Set our icon size again, however you wish. I'm just showing it. Okay. Good there, good there. And then we're going to add our variable, right? So here we're going to do select SimVars. Again, look for heading. And we want heading lock dir. You can see there's our heading mode. Let's move this down. Increase the font size. Oops. Select our font color. I don't know. Just pick one. Okay. And now you can see the heading mode is active. I did just notice that our button state didn't change. So I'll have to work on that. That's interesting because it should have. Unless, oh, you know what? No, I don't think it would have based on this. Hang on a second. Let's go back to our autopilot buttons. Oh, we also want to change this to degrees. There we go. You guys get the gist here of how we're doing this. If I tap the touchscreen, which you guys just saw, okay, it will switch it to 180. I can then use my encoder to change it, but if I tap the touchscreen, so tap, it will now do the touchscreen command. So it looks like I might have a bug, I'm not going to lie here, with the button state toggling on the touchscreen. I will work on that. That just means that I haven't connected this. I missed a line, apparently. Which sucks, but yeah, that's a shame. Because it's definitely cycling. I can see it switching between roll and heading mode. All right, well, we'll fix that. That's just on the LCD screen. Again, that's minor. I'm not going to hold up the release because of that. So anyways, and you can add multiple variables to a slot. Like if you wanted, you could actually remove the whole icon. Go back to none. And you could set this up with multiple variables if you wanted. You could simply add a slot and add a new variable. Make sure you put in the correct units. So whether it be feet, feet per minute, degrees, or a number, whatever it may be. You have that option as well. So I think that covers pretty much everything that you guys need to get things rolling and keep things rolling. Again, we showed the frequency. showed how to create a button. We got the button toggle state. You guys were able to see those working, which I'm very grateful for. But anyways, I hope that this gave you guys some enlightenment on how the new plugin works. So let's talk about what's coming. Okay. So what's coming is I have determined that I do have the ability. It's going to be a lot of work, so it's not going to be this week. I doubt it. It might be, but I doubt it. But I don't know if it'll make it in the next release or not. But there is a way for me to return the control back to Hangar Control, meaning that keeping the plugin, keeping the functionality, keeping the ability to use all of your other plugins for Stream Deck that you may have, while still being able to bind it inside of Hangar Control, configure in Hangar Control, and assign it to different profiles, so that way Hangar Control can automatically swap your profiles for you. That looks like I can do that. I have found a couple of different things that really open the doors to that, but it's going to be a minute before that can be done. It's a massive restructure within Hangar Control as far as communicating with the Elgato software, but it can be done. I think. I'm pretty confident. So that's going to be on its way. Obviously, the graphical errors that you guys have seen here tonight, the button state toggling on the touchscreen, I'll get that resolved. The other thing that I'm going to add to the touchscreen is return the ability where if you touch the top left or top right corner, it will swap pages. For right now, you're going to have to do that within the Elgato software, but it is something that I am working on, and that one I'll probably have pretty quick here. That one wasn't too hard to do in Hangar Control, so I can't imagine it'd be too bad to do over here. Anyways, I hope that gave you guys some cool information. I hope you're excited about it. We have a bunch of new things coming in this release. We also have now full support of the WinWing PAP 3 default profile for the PMDG 737-800 from Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024, as well as the ability to create your own profile. In this next release, we also have full support now of the Logitech multi-panel. Many of you have requested. The Switch panel will be coming next. So anyway, I hope you guys are enjoying the software and consider purchasing. As always, folks, stay safe and healthy, and I'll see you in the next one.